Let's record this meeting. Basically, we have seen like a reusability option in the transformation. So if you are having like a single transformation, then you can reuse it by selecting an option reusable. So what is the meaning of reusable? Once you create that any transformation object, so then you can reuse the transformation object in multiple mappings. That is called the reusability. But what if like I have a logic where multiple transformations are there in that logic? I would like to use those multiple transformations as a single object. So just like a mapping. So in the mapping also what you're doing, the combination of sources, targets and transformations. But here also it's same. It's combination of different kind of a transformations. Only the difference is you are not going to have any targets. Okay, that is called maplet. So can you go to the next link? Sorry, next slide.
In maplet we don't have the target?
Yes, in the maplet you don't have a target. Only you will have the group of transformations or a source along with the transformation. Okay, so can you go to the other slide? Perfect. So this is how your maplet look like. Basically what he's trying to do is the one which is expanded is a maplet. He's trying to take that maplet in a mapping. So why he's supposed to take like this? Because he created the logic. So whatever the logic he defined inside of the maplet, he want to reuse that maplet in multiple mappings. That's the reason he created that maplet and he trying to incorporate that maplet into your mapping. So whatever is coming from the source qualifier, he's trying to send to the maplet and he's trying to take the output from the maplet. But what exactly happening inside of the maplet is we are going to see in the next slide. See, this is what actual the maplet is doing. So if you look at the maplet, there are two things. One is input, other one is the output. The rest of things are your logic, whatever the transformations you are going to put. So ultimately the outside is like how you are going to see this is the place where you expanded your maplet. But the outside world, when you put the same maplet in the mapping, then you can see only two things. One is input and the other one is output. So you are going to connect your mapping with the input and you are going to take the result from that output and you will send you a target. So, but inside of it, you are going to see this kind of a structure. Okay, so where exactly you are creating this maplet, like transformation developer, source analyzer and target designer and mapping designer, you are going to have maplet designer also. So the one which is highlighted over here is a maplet designer tool. Okay, so here there are two things, one is input and the other one is output. So you should have these two things. Maybe like you cannot have like input, instead of input you can use like a source, any source object in your maplet, but output is a mandatory thing. Any questions?
The output we have to connect direct target or
Anywhere.
Another transformation?
Anywhere.
Okay.
So you can connect that output to anywhere in your mapping. So can you go to the next one, fifth one? So this is how your maplet is going to look like in a regular mapping. So once you expand it, this is how it's going to look like in the bottom. So outside world, you are going to see this is as a transformation, like just like a transformation object. But when you expand it, then you are going to see multiple transformations within that maplet. Okay. So can you go to the next slide? Even this is another example. You can create the maplet. As I mentioned earlier, you can have different sources in your maplet, but the target is a mandatory thing. So ultimately, what you are seeing in this example, you are not connecting in middle, you are connecting in the starting point itself. So that's why you created the maplet as a first object in your mapping. But within the maplet, you are having sources and the rest of the logic. Any questions on this slide?
No, Krishna.
Okay. So in the fifth slide, you have seen how to connect the maplet between the transformations. In the current slide, you are saying like how you are going to connect a maplet as a source itself. Okay. So can you go to the seventh one? Okay. What is a maplet input transformation? Because like when you look at the first thing what we've seen, like input transformation, output transformation, there are a couple of other transformations in the maplet. So what is it? Input transformation, first of all, maplet input transformation. Basically, whatever is coming into your input, it has to come through this input transformation, maplet input transformation. So obviously, it's a passive transformation. It's not going to filter out anything. It's not going to do any kind of a transaction. This is just used to take your mapping content into the maplet. Okay.
Okay.
So one thing you have to remember, from the maplet input transformation, you cannot connect one given port to two different active transformations. So just remember that one. So you can connect to the one port to another transformation, but not like one port to multiple transformations. Maybe, I don't know like whether you have seen this or not. In regular mapping, one port can go to multiple ports, or one specific port you can connect to a different kind of a port, but in the maplet, you cannot do that. Okay?
Okay.
So can you go to the next one? Yes. So this is the output transformation. So what is the output transformation? The one which is used to send the data out. Okay, to send the data out of the maplet. But you need to remember one thing in input and output. Input is not a mandatory, it's the optional transformation in the maplet, but output is a mandatory transformation to create a maplet. Can you go to the next one? Okay, so this is what a kind of an example, what exactly you're doing in a mapping. Like the router, the result of the router, you're sending into three different maplets. So what exactly you're doing in that logic is your wish. Okay, so basically from the router, whatever the data is coming as three groups, one is for the inserts, one is for the updates, one is for the errors. So he might be using update strategy transformations or like a different kind of a thing on those maplets. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So this is what he's trying to do within the maplet. Can you go to the next one? I just want to see where is that lab so that you can perform that. So here he is talking about the passive maplet and active maplet. So multiple passive maplets can populate the same target instance. So what is the meaning of that? What is the first of all passive maplet? If a maplet is consist of all passive transformations, that is called passive maplet. Okay, so basically from the two passive transformations, two passive maplets can send the data to one target, but one passive and one active cannot send the data to a same target. Try to understand. So for example, if I'm having 5 different transformations, all are passive in one maplet, then that is a passive. Another maplet with the active transformation. Then the outcome of those two maplets I cannot send to the same target, because one passive, one active cannot send to same target instance. Why? Because from the passive, if you are getting like a 10 records, you are going to deliver 10 records. From the active, if you are getting 10 records, there is a chance you may get like only one record out of it. Then how you are going to sync? That's the reason you cannot concatenate two active or one active, one passive, or like one passive, one active. Only the possibility is two passive transformations or two passive maplets can connect to one specific target object. Any questions?
No.
Okay, if not, you can go to the next one. Okay, how about the maplet parameters and variables? So what kind of parameters and variables? It's just like your mapping parameters variables. So there is no difference. But only difference is where you are going to define. For the mapping parameters and variables, you are going to define under mapping tab. For the maplet, the same thing you can see under the maplet tab. Okay, in the designer. Is that clear? So next one, a parameter or a variable defined in a maplet is not visible in a parent mapping. So whatever is defined for the maplet is only applicable for that maplet. So you cannot use that variable or parameter in the mapping. The same thing like in the vice versa. whatever is defined in the mapping, you cannot use in the maplet. So if you want to use the variables in maplet, create maplet variables. If you want to use the mapping variables, create the mapping variables. Okay, you cannot interchange them, or like you cannot like exchange those variables between these two objects. Make sense?
Yes, Krishna.
Okay, can you go to the next slide? Okay, so fact self load mapping. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, so go back yesterday, whatever the mapping we created, fact self. Go to your Informatica. So hope, did you complete that mapping yesterday, whatever we did?
No, Krishna, I didn't do that.
Okay. Okay then. So just I'll simply show you like, oh, you did that or you not?
No, I'm in the middle of the mapping.
Okay then. So just I would like to show you like, okay, where you are going to create your maplet. So the same way, like the next to mapping, yes, that is a maplet designer. Go there. So try to take any source into your maplet. Any source.
Yeah.
That's okay. Give any name. That's okay. Whatever the name is there, that's okay. So take two transformations, any two transformations. You can take like expression, right? Why you're taking complex one. So right now I'm not taking the input transformation because you are creating a source. So no need of any input maplet transformation. So just connect all the source qualifier things to your expression. That's okay. One transformation is enough. I don't want like whatever the logic you want to put, just you can put it. So just I want to show you how to create a maplet. That's it. Now delete that filter. Delete that filter. Okay. Try to take like maplet output transformation. Go to transformations. Create. Okay. Expand it. Yes. Okay. In the drop down, maplet output transformation. No, not web service. Maplet output. Give some name. Connect all those ports to maplet output transformation. Okay, fine. Save it. Okay. Now go to your mapping. What are the mapping you have? So maybe you can take what the latest one or like whatever. Make sure there is no source in that. There is no source in that. Or you can create a simple mapping now. Just create a simple mapping. Okay, take that maplet from the maplet folder. Drag it. Now you can you drag it like little bit up and down? See, right now you are having only maplet output transformation in your maplet. So there is no input. So whatever is coming from the source qualifier is coming into an expression. From the expression you are taking it from here. From here you can continue your mapping. So whatever you want to create the logic, wherever you want to load the things, simply you can load into the table. So simply like you can take like, what is this dealership ID or what is that source? What you took in the, pardon? No. What I'm asking is like, can you go to your maplet? What is the source in your maplet?
Employees.
Employees, right? So maybe like you can take like dim underscore employees as a target.
Okay. Target is a mapping or a table?
Table. Never mapping could be a target. Okay. Now connect whatever is there in your maplet to your target. That's it. That's okay. So now save it. I don't want to connect like that. So this is what a simplest mapping you can perform by using maplets. So what you are trying to do, whatever the logic you want to do, you are creating in a maplet and just taking that logic and you are using in a mapping. So ultimately you can use this logic any mapping. For example, if the same source call for extraction is there or needed in multiple mappings, yes, you can use in the multiple mapping the same thing. Is that clear, Shrisha? Swati?
Yes, Krishna.
Okay.
In this example, the maplet is our source, right?
Yeah, maplet is your source.
Okay.
Basically, maplet is having your source. Maplet is not your source. Okay, whatever the result is coming from the maplet, you are connecting to the target. But ultimately, when you expand the maplet, there you can see the source. Not only source, there is like a different kind of a logic.
Yes.
That's the reason I cannot say it as a source. This is a result set. Okay, where you are using a source and getting the data and transforming some by using some kind of logic in your expression, then taking that information back to your mapping.
So we are having same logic for 4 to 5 mappings, then we create a maplet and we use that.
Exactly. So in some other mapping also, in some other 10 mappings, if you want to use the same source and same logic in your expression, whatever you create in the maplet, then yes, you can use it.
Okay.
Yes, that is what the intention. Okay, so can you go back to your folder? Okay. Can you go to the 15th one? So when would you use the maplet? Whenever a reusability is there, or whenever there is a chance of a reusability by using multiple transformations, then you are using the maplet. What is a maplet output transformation? Whatever the thing which you want to connect in the mapping from the maplet, you're supposed to use the output transformation. So input transformation is the one which is taking the data into your maplet, or which is taking the ports into your maplet. Input transformation is kind of an optional one, but output transformation is a mandatory one. Where can a maplet receive the data from? It can receive from any transformation, or it can receive from any kind of a source. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So can you go to the next one? Next slide. This is what another lab. Okay. Daily aggregate table, fact, promotion, aggregate daily. So can you open those two tables? Fact, promotion, agree daily, and just I want to see fact, promotions, agree daily. Basically, this is the second fact table you are trying to load. The only difference between the dimension tables and fact tables is in the dimension tables you will have like a lot of primary keys. So of course, when it comes to fact table, then you are going to call them as a foreign keys, but you're supposed to have all the dimensions need to load it. Oh, you are creating a table now?
Yes, Krishna.
Okay,
I
then
don't have the
yeah, then I just want to see the structure. I don't want any other thing.
fact promotion.
Agree. You can just copy from there. So just I want to see the structure. Just I want to show you. Of course, yesterday we have already seen. See, if you look at this, dealership ID, promo ID, date key. Yesterday, like I believe, like we worked on this thing. So the most of the things are like a kind of a keys. Okay. So here the promotion ID is a kind of a key. Dealership ID is a kind of a key. Product key, kind of a key. Date key. Only the things are difference is unit sold, revenue, revenue per unit, cost, cost per unit. Okay, so the only difference from the dimension table you can see is in the dimension table you can see only one key, but coming to fact table you are going to see multiple keys. So which are a foreign keys. To load this one, you should have all the mapping should have finished, or else we cannot do this. So that's why like basically we mentioned this in the last an impression that you are going to complete all the mappings. So once you load all the tables, then you are going to get your promo ID, you are going to get your dealership ID, then you are going to product key, date key, okay. So, and for the remaining things, it's simple. Whatever the logic you want to use, you can use those logic. Unit sold or revenue, revenue per unit, all the mathematical logic based on your business. Clear?
Okay.
Yeah. Go back to your PPT. Hope I'm not going fast because like the only reason I'm going a little bit like slide by slide, I'm not doing any mappings. There is no meaning to do these mappings in the class right now because we already seen all the logics and how to do that. And coming to the mathematical logic, then it depends on your business or it depends on your own logic, the way you did for the dim underscore date, for a stage underscore date. So whatever the logic you are using, logic doesn't require any kind of a subject. Logic is coming from your mind or like your experience, whatever it is. But only thing you're supposed to learn is the function. How you are going to mold your logic into Informatica standards is a big thing. Okay, so I believe like now you are comfortable to use the Informatica function. Or any other questions or anything on that one?
No, Krishna.
Okay.
Can
you go to the third one? So basically, why we are doing this lab, the basic reason why we are doing this lab and the last fact table is to understand how you are going to handle the fact table. So by now you should have understand what I understand is fact table loading is a different concept where you are having multiple dimensional keys. First you need to get those dimensional keys, then only you can perform the remaining data. So that is what the major thing in a fact table. Okay. Any questions on this one? Okay. If not, can you move to the any questions, Shirisha, Swati?
No, Krishna.
Okay. I think you already opened that folder, right? Okay. That's okay. Open it. Same thing. Now, coming to the workflow variables, these are the, from now onwards, whatever we are discussing is kind of a rare thing. Okay. So even in interviews, you won't expect much questions from this thing. You may expect like few, but like not much. Okay. But even in the real time also, you might not use most of them. Only few things you will use regularly. But anyway, we are focusing on the few things, but like most of things you are not going to use. Okay, only 10% of the things you will use frequently. So coming to this slide, what exactly you are going to use in the real time? So first thing is a link condition. For example, in the workflow manager, first of all, what you want to understand is every time like this, I mean, until now you created like a one session, right? For every job you are creating one session. But in the real time, you will have multiple sessions within same workflow. Okay, multiple sessions within the same workflow. So then why we are going to create the multiple sessions? Because I would like to run the complete workflow. Okay, I would like to load the multiple tables by using the same workflow, or I would like to create a dependency on table to table or session to session. Then I'm going to use multiple sessions within the same workflow. But there are two different things. I can run these multiple sessions parallelly by using same workflow, or I can run these sessions sequentially by using same workflow. How we are going to do that, we'll see. Okay, that is what the day-to-day usage of this workflow manager. So for that, you need to understand the link condition, and next thing is like a workflow variable. Never mind, we are not going to use much of the workflow variables and assignment tasks, decision tasks, email tasks. The one important thing what I can say here is a link condition, but anyway we'll see everything. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, what are the link conditions first of all? So let's go to the workflow manager. Try to take like multiple sessions, even some other sessions into the same thing. Drag it. Just connect the next session to the ms_m_scd2 DAM. No, you cannot. There is a link task, right, on top. No. Okay, link task. Try to connect from the second one. Yes.
Okay.
Now you are linking the one session to next session. But what happens if your workflow is like this? First, when you start your workflow, first first session will execute. That is s_m_scd2_dim product will execute. Whether it succeeds or fails, immediately the next session will kick off. But what exactly you are expecting? You want to run the second session only when the first session succeeds, right? Or else why you need to create like this? So how you are going to do that? Can you double click on the link? The second link. Double click. Yes. Here I can mention a different kind of a variable. So right now what I'm doing is status. There is a variable called status. Can you come down a little bit on the left side? No. Come down. Yes. Status is equal single quote succeeded. You can see the spelling because case sensitive. Yes. Succeeded. Close. Yes. Validate. Not resolved. There is some problem. Succeeded. Okay, can you go to your power slide? PowerPoint.
Yeah, all
Double
capitals.
No, double E. Okay, can you validate it now? Okay, try to mention in the double capital letters. I don't think like capital letters, but still give it a try. Okay, can you go back to your PowerPoint presentation?
There is no code.
There is no code. Yes, that's the problem. Can you make it it as a small case letters. Just I want to clarify that too. Okay, so what you are doing now, you are giving a session and the corresponding status. So that status is succeeded, then only kick the next session, or else don't kick off the next session. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that is the use of a linked task. And you are having like so many things if you look at the left side. So each thing is a kind of a condition. If your end time, error status, success rows, failed rows, everything you can use on your link. But normally the link task will be used to know the status of the current session. Okay. So can you go to the
If we have any dependency on session in between the two sessions, we are going with link condition, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. In business case, are they mentioned in requirement document, or we have to find out? We have to come up with this.
They will mention you. Okay, what table is dependent on what table. So based on your mapping, so you need to decide which session is going to be the first and which session is going to be dependent, like everything. Can you go to that slide? Yeah, can you go to the next slide? So we just now we seen this, right? So these are the kind of a variables. These are the whatever we seen just now is a task specific variable. So even you're having like a built-in variables and user defined variables, but like mostly 99% we are going to use the existing task specific variables. Okay. If you want to see, just go to the same thing. Whatever we created just now, just expand it. Yeah, the link. So can you go to that user defined? You didn't define any variables as of now. Okay, so you won't see anything. Can you go to the predefined again? Can you come down a little bit? Come down. Expand the built-in. So these are the variables like we've seen like a sysdate and a workflow start time, sysdate and session start time in the session. The same way here also you're going to have workflow start time. But normally we don't use workflow start time or sysdate. Okay, basically why we need these all variables, why we are not using them, why he mentioned, why Informatica gave all these things to you then. You may ask the question. The only reason is, the reason they mentioned all these things is to schedule your jobs effectively. Okay, to organize your jobs effectively, to put your jobs in a proper way or like a proper order. But why we are not using them? Because nowadays people are using the third-party tools like Control-M, Autoflow, or whatever it is. Like they are using a different kind of third-party tool. Those third-party tools are taking care of all these things. Why? People are crazy or what? Like when Informatica is giving, why they need to use them? Because when you're talking about an organization is not only containing your Informatica, right? It will consist of like different technologies. So your Informatica source might be a Java. Your Informatica target could be a different kind of a Salesforce. So how you are going to handle, how you are going to integrate all those jobs just by using your Informatica thing. So you have to go with a third-party tool which can integrate everything. That's the reason you are going with a third-party tool to manage all these things, whatever he provided here. So now, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Krishna.
Yep. So can you go back? Any questions as of now?
No.
Shirisha?
No, Krishna.
Okay. Can you go to the next slide? So how you are going to, if in case, if you want to define your own variable, how you are going to do that? So when you edit workflow, can you go to the workflow now?
Krishna?
So
in the previous one, we created the dependency between the two sessions. So in scheduler, they will create all those dependencies.
So in the No. In the scheduler now you're talking about within the workflow. In the schedule, they will create the dependencies between the workflow, not between the session.
Okay. So
Okay.
within the session dependency we should only create.
Within the workflow dependency, we should create. That's the reason this is the important thing, the link task.
Okay.
So can you go to the workflows on top? Now we are seeing how you are going to create the workflow variable. I mean user defined variable. Edit. Variable. Create new. So even I never seen why we are using these things, but like if anyone asks you to create a variable, then this is the place you suppose. Okay.
Is the mapping variable, workflow variable, both are different, right, Krishna?
Yes. Even session variables, mapping variables, workflow variables, all are different. Workflow variables are only used to handle in workflow level. Okay. So I never use any workflow variable. That's why like I'm unable to give any example like what scenario you are going to use workflow variable.
Krishna, if we define a workflow variable, then can we use that workflow variable in all the sessions which are present in the workflow and mappings also?
No, not on the session. You can use on the workflow side.
Like all the mappings which are connected to that workflow, can we use that variable in all the mappings?
No, that's what I'm saying. The workflow variables are only used within that workflow, not on the session. Workflow related things only you can use. Means if you want to abort your or like fail your workflow, or if you want to pass some message from this workflow to other workflow, or if you want to use, I am not able to give like a proper example, but like because I never use the workflow variable.
Okay.
But like one thing is you cannot access this variable from your Informatica mapping.
Okay.
Okay, when you look into your mapping, you cannot even identify even this variable is there.
Okay.
Here it says persistent tab is there, right, Krishna? If you have in mapping, if you are using a persistent cache lookup, in that situations, are we going to use workflow variables?
One thing is sure, okay, don't link workflow variables to your mapping.
Oh.
You don't have any visibility from the mapping to your workflow variable. Okay, so why we are using this thing on workflow to workflow related things, not to your workflow to mapping or workflow to session. Okay, because you are having like a different kind of a task, so then you'll understand. Okay, maybe like when we are going to those things, I'll explain you. I have only one scenario to explain you on this thing, but we need to go to the specific task. Can you apply right now? Just save it. Whatever the workflow variable you created, just apply. Okay, you created new variable 1, right? Okay. Now, can you go back to your PPT? Okay. Can you go to the next one? Okay. Can you go back again? Fifth slide. He mentioned can persist across the session in a workflow. Value is saved in the repository. So whatever the variables you are creating, those are persistent and those are constant across your sessions, not in your mappings. Is that clear now? Or across the tasks, instead of sessions, even I can say across the tasks, but not to your mappings.
So we can use in any sessions which are
any session. Exactly. Whatever is listed under your workflow, you can access that. But once you come out of the workflow manager, no visibility.
Okay. So we can create here like a connection for target and sources also in workflow.
No. Sources, target connections are session variables.
Yeah, but you said that we can use them across the sessions.
See, there are two different kind of things. So when I'm saying like you can use across the sessions, that doesn't mean that you can use for any purpose, right?
Yes.
So whatever the variable you are creating, yes, okay, you can create it, but you cannot use for any other purposes.
Okay.
Okay.
Then where will you, then how will you?
I'll tell you when we come to the task. I'll tell you.
Okay. Okay.
But I may doubt like you can use it for the source connection and target connection. I'm little doubt.
Okay.
The only reason is because workflow is kind of a parental thing for your session, and
Yes.
both are from the workflow manager. So whatever
Yes.
you are creating as a workflow variable, you can use for the workflow directory, and you can use in other tasks. But I'm not sure about whether you can create it for the source and target connections or not. But in my
Okay.
experience, I never used the workflow variable as my source connection.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. So these are the few examples, whatever he provided. Workflow runs, total number of the records got failed from this workflow. Okay. So maybe he created like, he is defining a variable. If this is failed or like whatever the value, your session success rows and session failure rows, you can capture, right? Those things he is assigning to this variable. Can you see that? For example, if session got failed or like session got succeeded with 100 records, you can assign those values over here. Okay. So where you are assigning them, there is a specific task called assignment task. So by using assignment task, you can assign the variables or you can assign a value to your variable. This is what the task I was talking about. Here, you can assign whatever the value is coming out of your the variable. You are going to assign to this total rows failed. Can you go to your workflow manager? I would like to show you this. Can you take like a session assignment task? Go to task, create. Okay, in the drop down, come down, assignment. Give some name. Okay, open it. Open it. Go to expressions. This is where I can assign. So now you created one variable, right? Can you create the new? Here, new variable one. This is what you created, right?
Yes.
Okay, go to your expression. Now, what is the session? What you want to save into this specific variable? Source success row. Select the source success row. Yes. Click on validate. Click on OK. So now what I am doing, I assigned a value. What is that value? Whatever this session success rows, I am putting in the new variable 1. Okay, this is how I can assign a value to my workflow variable. But where you are going to use the variable, we are going to see in the next task. Are you clear till this point? Okay, any questions?
No.
This is the dollar new variable one is the workflow variable, Krishna?
You only created that. Do you remember?
Yeah, I created that one. Whenever we click one and
No, how? Okay, expand it. No, click on the drop down, the down arrow. Click on the down arrow.
okay.
You created only one.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, automatically
if you create two, it will come as a, it will give another option.
Okay.
So here what you did is like whatever the variable you created, you just assigned a value, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, so apply. Okay. Just save it. I just want to use in some other place. Okay, go back to your slide. So what are the picture he shown? That is what we did. Okay. So the total number of rows succeeded, we assign that value. Can you go to the next one? Okay. The decision task. Basically, this is kind of a task like based on the success and failure, what you want to do for the next branch. Okay. So this is kind of a router, maybe like we use in the mapping, right? So based on this decision task, or you can give your own conditions on the decision. So if something has happened over here, go to the next session A, or something has happened here, go to session B. So based on the decision, whatever you are deciding on this task, you can link two different sessions, and this decision task is going to control those specific sessions. So we are going to see, can you go back to your Informatica? Just I want to show you. So if you, can you open any session? Any session. Yes, open it. Couple of properties I would like to discuss. So in the bottom, fail parent if this task fails. What does it mean? If this specific task fails, fail the complete workflow. If you are having like 100 sessions, okay, in your workflow, if this specific session fails, I want to fail the complete parent. Parent means workflow. That is, if you select that option, then your workflow is going to fail. Fail the parent if the task doesn't run. Sometimes you don't run the task itself. For example, if you are having 100 sessions, my job got completed, like because of something, because of my condition in the link task, my next session didn't kick off. What I can do, if this specific session didn't kick off, then fail the complete workflow itself. Okay, fail the complete workflow itself. Disable this task. Don't run anything, just disable it. Okay, whenever you want to run this, just make it as a, just uncheck this one so that your task is active again. And treat the input links and or. Basically, if you are using and, for example, if you are using the decision task, this is very important. So from the decision task, if you are connecting as a and, if you are selecting as a and, that means whatever the conditions, whatever the branches, both branches need to be success to make this specific task as a success. If you select or, if any one of them got failed, it will fail, or it won't kick off. So I don't want you to confuse much all this tasks. No one are going to choose these specific tasks. Okay, everything is scheduled within your third-party tool controller. But like the things, the first one, whatever I explained, those square boxes, fail parent this task fails, fail parent if this task doesn't run, are kind of a noticeable things from these properties. Does that make sense? But still, if you want to study anything on this point, but like first try to finish with all the scenarios. If you have time, then you can research on this thing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, can you go back to your slides? Can you go to the 8th one? There is another task you need to remember. Another two tasks, not these tasks, but like yes, this is one of the things. Even now, no one is using the email task, but like earlier people used to use, because the only reason is in current world, people are using like Linux scripts to execute your workflow. Okay, people are using Linux scripts. When you're using the Linux scripts, when you're calling your Informatica job, obviously, even you are going to have a email command on the Linux. So by using that, you are sending the emails. Or if you don't want to use that, yes, this is the task. So after completion of the session, if you connect your session to this email task, if it is a success, okay, then an email will go to the people whoever you mentioned in your email task. In the properties, you can mention the subject, you can mention the email text, or you can mention the people's email IDs. Anyway, you cannot test this specific email task because we don't have that Outlook capacity. is synced with your Informatica. So to implement this, your Informatica should sync with your Outlook. That is your email box. Okay. So basically, if your control goes to this specific email task, then it will send an email, whatever the email IDs you mentioned, whatever with the subject and with the text. That makes sense? So maybe for your question, Shirisha, where we are going to use those variables? Here you are going to use the variable in the email text or in the email subject as a success rows or like a failed rows.
Okay.
Okay, so you can send to the business, okay, these many success rows or these many failed rows or whatever it is.
Okay.
Okay, can you go to the 9th one? So try to do this one just like whatever the assignment task we created, right? Just try to link to your mapping or to whatever the session, like once you complete that successfully, link that to your assignment task. From there, the decision task, okay? And from the decision task, just put to a session task. And in the decision task, mention if it is failed, then it should go to the event task. Okay, let's go to your workflow. Okay, connect the, from the second session, connect the assignment task. Okay, now from this, connect the decision task. Go to the task. No, don't connect this. Go to the decision task, create decision. Connect to the assignment task. Can you expand the decision task? Open that. Property. Okay, decision name, value, expand it. Okay, status, assignment, sorry, select that. What is the other session? Not this one. What is the other session? Close this. Take it out. Take it out. No, open it. I'm talking about the session name. Whatever you connect to the assignment task. Okay, yes. Anyone, whatever the status. What is that session you connected to your assignment task? Close it. Okay, then select it. Status. Is equal. Succeeded. Okay, validate. Click on OK. Apply. Perfect. Now, from this decision task, connect to your SM SQ filter. And again, from the decision, try to create an email task. Go to task, create, search for the email task. Connect to the, from decision to email. Okay, save it. Okay, so just execute it like and make sure like all the sessions succeed properly. Okay, so basically like this is how you can connect. So you need not to see anything because anyway you cannot send any email or anything. But like if anyone asks you, can you open that email task? Just I want to show you where you are going to mention the email ID. Properties. See, email usernames. Basically your email IDs. Subject, whatever the subject you want. Email text, whatever the text you want. Okay. So this is how you are going to use the email task. So unfortunately, you cannot send any emails from your local or training Informatica software. Okay, click on OK. So can you go to the next slide?
Do we need to give any condition here, Krishna?
We already gave a condition, right? So whatever the condition we gave, that condition success, then it will go to the filter. Oh, you didn't provide that condition, right?
Yes, we didn't.
Okay, so yeah, you can write a condition over there. Expand it. You can write like a if. Go to functions. Functions. There are functions, right? All functions. Use any if function or something. Yes. Comma. Use the task, whatever the predefined task. Predefined. Go to predefined. Select the session. Select the session. Whatever the session you want to run. What is the next session?
SQ filter.
Okay, select it. I just want to send. Come down. Come down. Can you go up a little bit? Basically, I would like to select that session. Okay, can you go back to your slide? Just I want to see like how he defined. Just leave it, but just go to the slide. Yeah. Can you go back to the 8th slide or 7th slide where he explained about the decision slide task? 6th or 7th? Okay, just give a sec. Okay. Can you go back to your workflow? So just click on OK. Just close it. Whatever you gave it here, just close it. Open them and close the bracket. So this is one of the condition. Okay. So based on this decision, what you're going to do is we are going to see. Click on OK. Okay, take it off. I don't want any. Take it off. Click on validate. Perfect. Click on OK. Click on OK. No. Go to general. Go to general. Just I want to validate. Go to general. So basically, treat input links as OR. You need to select that OR because now I have a condition. Now I don't want to select as AND because if we select AND, both need to. It's going to validate like both of the conditions. But like now I want to evaluate both of conditions differently. Click on apply. Okay. Now on the task 2 assignment task, can you on the task 2 filter here only. No. In the link, your task name is filter, right? SQ filter.
Yeah.
Yes. So double click on the link, not on the session. Link. So there is a decision task condition. You select that. Select it is equal to 0. If it fails, okay, is equal to 0. Validate it. If the condition fails, then it will go to the session. The condition succeeds means that if the session is success, click on OK. So whatever the decision task condition you mentioned, right? If that condition is fail, then it will go to the SQ filter. If the condition is success, then it will go to the email.
Okay.
Just mention. Double click. No, the link. Not that you already selected that, right? Okay, let's make it as a 1. No, make it as a 1. It makes sense now. Copy it, the entire thing. Click on OK. Now what you are doing, if the condition whatever you mentioned the decision task is true, then kick off this session or else send a error message. Click on that link. Yes. Paste it and put 0 instead of 1. Okay. So basically what you're doing, based on the success, you are passing 2 controls. If it is success, you are passing to filter. If it is fail, you are passing to email. So that is how your decision task is going to decide.
Okay.
Okay. Can you go back to your PPT? Okay. Go to next slide. We have seen this. Go to next slide. I think we did this one too. Go to the next one. So basically we have seen like a different kind of a task, okay, whatever is there on Informatica. So we do have like a couple of other tasks. I think like those are mentioned in the next slide, next presentation. So we'll see that when it comes. Can you go to the next one, 11th? Okay, so what are the link conditions? Basically from session to session, you can avail a kind of a control on the session. So basically you are gaining the control over the session by using a link condition. And what is the workflow variable? In case of any thing related to your workflow, like whether workflow status or like workflow, the session success rows or like a failure rows, you are going to get those values from the workflow variable. So assignment task, if you want to assign any value to your workflow variable explicitly, then assignment task. Decision task, if you want to create a kind of a control or if you want to create a kind of a logic, okay, based on that logic you are going to decide like which session need to run, then you are going to create the decision task. Email task, to send an email to your user. Okay, So any question up to this point?
In email doc, can we mention the personal email, Krishna?
No, because that should be linked with your Informatica.
Okay.
If your email configuration is not linked, then it won't go.
Okay.
Okay. So that's all from my end for today.